So, welcome back, everyone. I'm actually talking to no one at the moment. I can see there's 0 people watching because they're all on the old stream. They'll probably rejoin us in a minute. Oh, okay, they're starting coming back. So, welcome back. Apologies for the back and forth. It's not ideal, unfortunately. Just not much I can do about that at the moment. So waiting for everyone else to join us, because I don't really want Marcus talking to an empty room. Right, I think we're getting some people back. I'm going to give it another minute or so to get everyone back in the room. And then what we'll do is I'll hand over to Marcus Ibrahim, who has very kindly come over with Matt, and he will be taking you through some reviews of other oils as well that he's got. I've tried to spread out the oils between Matt and Marcus so that you get different reviews of different oils. You get different, perspectives, and the same oils are not reviewed again and again by all full reviewers, because I think it will get monotonous. So, Marcus, when you're ready, I will hand the hot seat over to you, and the floor's yours.
Good afternoon. Where do I look? Where's the camera? Is it the green light? How are you all doing? So I hope you've enjoyed the live streaming so far of our OudFest in London. And well, to tell you the truth, it's only going to go downhill from here. So I don't blame you for. Can I see the numbers? Who's 8? Okay. So
it was 18, but
it was 18. It was 18 30 seconds ago. So 07. Okay. I knew this was going to happen, and I don't blame you, because I don't really know what I'm talking about, to be honest with you. And seeing as all the ouds smell the same anyway, no, of course they don't. No, they don't. But look, I've got my arms numbered, my arm numbered with bits and pieces, so I don't forget what I put where. Anyway, I'm going to waffle. You know what? I really want my daughter here now. You know the one with the oud radar? That would make things so much easier. We'd go, okay, olfactory, wild 3, have a sniff of this, and if you go, I'm not going to repeat it on stream, online, on live stream, what she would say, but if you've been following me in any kind of way, then you know my daughter's take on any kind of oud, which is great, because I only need her to tell me if something contains real oud or not. She'll pick it out if it's a tiny drop. But anyway, so let me start with my number 1. My number 1 is, I'm going to have to cheat because I took a few notes. So Mix Malay, and Mix Malay is by the Atau store. And this ain't going to help you much if I show it to you. I don't know if you can see that lovely juicy brown color there. So Mix Malay, I'm just going to put a little bit on again to remind me. But it opens in a kind of sort of a not surprising, if you're going to smell oud, not surprising kind of a barnyard, farmyard kind of vibe. But very quickly, you're going to notice that even though it's quite uncompromising and relentless in its strength and depth, there's really lovely kind of a deep, like tobacco leaves, like that aren't even dry yet, but that are sort of still fresh and malleable, if that makes sense. And with that, you get a kind of a sweet hay thing as well going on. It's so smooth and nice. And the thing is, with all these ouds that I have, and I'm not talking about 9 or I mean, Matt is really good at talking about these things, and I'm not, because I waffle. But so I cut it down to 4 or 5 maybe. And on the face of it, I understand when a lot of you guys, or what I see a lot of people saying, well, oud, barnyard, farmyard, and I understand that, but I think it takes a bit of practice to read underneath that, because you're right. They do, most of them do have that real kind of cowpad vibe initially. But it's almost like reading between the lines, and when you do, and when you're practiced in that, and then other things open up for you, and it's really worth persevering with things, even if you feel, well, that one smells much the same as the other. So that's wild. That's the Mix Melee 19 by the Atta store. I'm bearing in mind I've not smelled any of these brands until this morning or this afternoon. Next in line we have number 2. Oh, this is a nice one. So this is by a brand called Olfactory, and I put in my previous post the link to their my previous post on Instagram. I'm an Instagrammer, I'm not a YouTuber. You can tell I'm crap in front of the camera. But so if you go on my Instagram, Marcus.Ibrahim, I can't even say my name right. So my last post with sort of pictures of, that's what I do, pictures of these boys here. So Olfactory, and this one is called Galore. Again, lovely color, but the color actually doesn't smell like this color, if that makes sense. So this one, it's a really bright and almost like a golden yellowy scent to me. And as soon as even before it hits your skin, as soon as you open this, as soon as you open it, oh man, this reminds me of my dad. Not in the way he smells, but his alcoholic habits of the finest cognacs and brandies. I don't know, Spanish or what. I don't drink, so, and I never used to drink that stuff either. But this is just so beautiful, so clear and bright. I mean, if this was a cognac, this would cost a bomb, I'm telling you. But of course, I mean, it's not cognac. There's no. I wouldn't have thought there's cognac in it. I don't know. I've not checked this out online to see what the notes are, but I wouldn't have thought there's any cognac. Which actually brings me to another thing. When we talk about perfume, and I know all this is about oils and pure oils, and perhaps the odd perfume attar mixed in among this lot. But talking about just ordinary perfumes that you see people talk about on YouTube, Instagram, etc. And we've had this long debate recently about, should perfumes that don't contain real oud use the word oud in the name? Now, my own view is, if the perfume has rose in the name, it doesn't mean that there's real rose petals in it, or leather. There's not real leather in it. So I don't. When I see people take pride in pure oud and the production and all of it, understandably. To me, I mean, if I see like a bottle of perfume that costs 20 quid and it says amber oud on it, I know there's not going to be anything real in there, right? So it doesn't have to tell me on the bottle, right? It's just common sense, because oud is expensive, you all know this. So this isn't going to contain cognac, but after a while, when you smell it, and this has dried down on my arm now for an hour or something like that, and that brightness is still there. I'm still talking about olfactory galore 2020. And it sort of dawns on you what it is. And I reckon this is vetiver. It has a real green, fresh, clean brightness with the kind of oud funk. That's there, definitely. But, you know, as I said earlier, reading between the lines, you're getting the vetiver coming in, and a bit of incense as well, and it's so lovely. And I mean, this is something actually I'm going to ask one of the people that I'll be interviewing later on about how, you know, whether there's any way you can steer how an oud oil turns out in the sort of distillation process. Whether there's any way of tweaking the notes that are particularly appealing, or whether it's just chance. I'm pretty sure it won't be just chance. I'm sure there's a science to it, but I'm an ignoramus, so I'm going to have to ask that. Okay, so tune in for that later on. The timings of our schedule are slightly skew with today, so I don't know exactly when that's going to be, but it'll be sometime this afternoon. I'll be talking to Al-Hashimi in Saudi Arabia and Udbase in Dubai.
Same time. Same time.
Yeah, same time. So whatever time that was, around 4:30 British Mean Time. So if you tune into that, that would be fantastic. Right, the next one I'm going to talk about is by a brand called Al-Hashimi, and this one is called Kakaya. And I chose this of a lineup of Al-Hashimi oils that Nadim kindly gave me to try. It says on here Malay Cambodia, so I don't know whether that means it's a blend of two pure oils or what the story is, but Kakaya, it reminds me of two things. One is Mokaya, which is one of my favorite perfumes by Tioni Reintal. If you know me, my page on Instagram, Tioni Reintal, TRNP Perfumes from Australia. I'm in love with everything she does, and Mokaya was my first of her oils, of her perfumes. Really lovely amber incense, gorgeous. And Kakaya just reminded me of that, so I picked it. It also reminds me a little bit of the names that Prin Lomros gives to his perfumes, the Prasanna and Prin, and whatever other line he's ventured into now. He comes up with names like that, Kakaya. So it probably is like a Southeast Asian name, I would have thought, Kakaya. So what's Kakaya? Say again?
Jackfruit.
Jackfruit. It means, it's an Arabic name, so it means jackfruit. And I guess that's kind of a giveaway, because I was just gonna say to you that it does have a fruity aroma. Let me just reapply it. And I can't even remember where I put it. I think it was number 3. Yes, it was number 3. And it is dark and fruity, and it's so natural. It's so lovely. Now at the beginning, again, I just put fresh on top of the one that I put on an hour ago. And the beginning, it's so funky. I want to get up and dance, mate. I'm not going to do that. No, don't laugh. Matt is going. Yeah. He wants to see me dance.
Okay.
Again, no, that was a one-off. You're not going to see me dance today, but I'm dancing inside because this is lovely. I'm getting a bit of chocolatey kind of thing as well. But hey, my nose is rubbish at the best of times. I've still got polyp this side. So, and anyway, all these smell different to different people and on different people. So, I mean, my own opinion and my own first impression really doesn't account for much. And in any case, this is, never heard of this, never tried this brand before. Put it on an hour ago. I mean, really, these oils, you need to spend time with them and let them talk to you and let them tell you their story. You can't really do that in a room smelling 20 different things and then thinking, yeah, you have some kind of authority to get in front of a camera and talk to people about them, because it doesn't wash. It doesn't wash with me, and it shouldn't wash with you. But the one thing that should come across is perhaps the passion and the excitement of smelling something that is just top quality. That is just perfect. And so that is enough waffling about Kakaya, jackfruit in Arabic, by a house called Al Hashimi. And again, my last Instagram post, which I managed to put up just before coming on the live stream, you'll find the link to the company there. Now, number 4, we have a brand called Imperial Oud, and Imperial Oud I have come across. I think their Instagram presence is probably the greatest of these houses that I've talked about so far. But saying that, I've never smelled anything by them. But I changed that today. So this one here is a Chinese, by all accounts, Chinese oil called Yunnan, if I'm saying it right. And I don't speak Chinese or Mandarin or the other language I speak, Cantonese. I don't know what it is, what it means, or what the notes are. And again, if I was my daughter, it would be quite easy. Oud, as in cow, poo. But we are taking things a bit more seriously here today. So I want to know where I put Yunnan, but I can't remember. And this is another side story. So if you've been watching, not Kike, my esteemed colleague from Spain who spoke before me, but before that was Matt, who's a great guy from London, and I sort of connected, I think it was last year at some point, talking about different things. So he, I guess, was my rival in the studio today. I say studio, we're in an office room. We're in the old studio in London, everyone. So he, on the way here, yeah, he picked me up, and I reckon he did that on purpose. He brought his bottle of Tironi by Alta Parisi, sprayed it all over me. Yeah, so all I can smell now is bleeding Tironi everywhere. So all the oud smells of Tironi, while he's sitting there talking about 9 different oils, which have 9 different shades of this and that and this. And he knows full well that my nose is buggered with Tironi, basically. But it's only this arm. But man, the Tironi is everywhere. I'm really working hard here to tell you anything tangible and meaningful. So where was I? Yunnan by Imperial Oud. So it's a Chinese oil. I'm gonna have to reapply that. I think there is probably a place I haven't used yet. So right, so let me tell you, Yunnan is farmyard. is skanky and funky. And you've got to give it time to let it do its thing and tell you it's different story. They all have stories. It's kind of like you know when you go into an old library and all the books, all the old leather-bound books, they all look the same. But of course, once you open them up, they all have different stories inside. And I kind of feel that with this oud smelling experience, that initially, with quite a lot of them, they have that very similar funky cow oud vibe that most people are familiar with and that my daughter runs from. You got to open the page and start the chapters to notice. So Yunnan, and Yunnan, similar to the one from Olfactory to Galore, has a green and bright thing going on. But then it does something different. It doesn't go into a vetiver direction. It has a kind of a darker, more edgy, like almost animalic kind of thing going on. To the point that it's almost like a gasoline sharpness. But it's so good. And you know what? I mean, I can talk about stuff. It doesn't mean anything to you. You're not smelling this. Yunnan by Imperial Oud. How many of you would know this? How many of you would actually go out and buy it? So I could be telling you all sorts of things. And really, I think the whole process of the oud experience is hello. There's live comments. I didn't realize. I've only just noticed. Okay, well, I mean, there's me trying to think of what shall I talk about. I can just chat to you guys. Why did nobody tell me? Now, where was I going? So, yeah. So I think talking about oud, especially all these different things that half of them probably cost a bomb, the other half, well, not half, probably more than half cost a bomb. And I don't know, as I say, how many of you would smell them, would go out and buy this particular one, but it's not about that. I'm not, nobody here is telling you, oh, you need this. It's just about, sort of, I don't know, broadening your horizon and opening your mind a little bit. And that is the one word, it's the mind. It happens here in your mind. And sometimes I think, this is why I don't have a YouTube channel. We talked about it earlier, and I don't do many videos talking about stuff. Sometimes it does grab me and I want to shout to everybody how wonderful something is. But to me, most of it happens in my mind, and I think you can talk to death, and especially when you can't talk like me, when you get stuck and you're not great in front of a camera, and you kind of get to a limit of how well you can represent a scent with words, and expressions other than going ooh, ah, and all this. Mind you, I mean, I love it when the right people do that. Now, I tell you what, one last thing. I've got another one here. There's going to be my fifth one because I've got a few minutes left. And I picked this one because it came in a nice big bottle, not these little dinky ones. So this comes in a nice big bottle, and I can show you. I hold it in the. I don't know, how do YouTubers do it? They always put their hand behind the thing. Okay, so this is Olfactory Wild 3. I put that here, and I'm going to have to reapply it. So this is how you. I'm getting warm. This is how you apply oud, everybody. Or atta. You put it on your nose, and you let it slowly run down here. And that's how you do it. Oh. Yes, I'm getting whiffs of oud. Wild Streak. Let's stop messing around here now. And rub it from my nose into here. Okay, let me ask the expert. Nadim, do you know olfactory wild Streak? Do you know what's in this one?
Olfactory Wild 3 2020. I actually opened this this morning for the first time.
Yeah.
I think it's a wild Sri Lankan distillation. It's an oud oil. I remember Ed mentioning it to me, but I wouldn't know for certain. But it certainly smells like a typical Sri Lankan oil.
It does smell.
But it's a lovely oil.
It is lovely. Now, as I said to you earlier,
as well, 2020.
Yeah, it's very new. So it'll change after sitting in the bottles.
It's got that sunshine element. There's an overlap in scent notes between some very high level Borneo oils and Sri Lankan oils. Sometimes at the high end you can mistake one for the other.
Okay.
And it has that component, but it's also got a dark component as well.
Right.
Which is sort of married perfectly. It's merged perfectly in both facets. The dark facet and the light, there's both going on there, and I think it's very nice. Because we released an oil a year ago, a Sri Lankan oil, which was quite a dark oil, not your usual light Sri Lankan oils. This has got both facets in it. It's quite interesting, actually.
Yeah, it is interesting. And you just said we, so you are actually one of the people behind Al-Hashimi. Yeah, I'm saying that right now because I said Al-Hashimi. I think
Al-Hashimi.
Al-Hashimi. Okay, and are we going to be interviewing you later on?
Unfortunately,
one of us.
I think it will be Kike from Central.
Kike.
Yeah.
So
then I think Matt is interviewing Malik from the distillery. We've got a distillery in Saudi.
Okay, so keep tuned. I don't know where you're going, Nadim, because I've finished.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I think
I'm just used to all the reviewers spending loads of time on the streaming session. So
you're used to it, but look, I'm not used to talking, and I've given you my impressions of these boys. So thank you for watching, all 15 of you. And you missed Marcus twerking and dancing. John, you're a bugger. But I love you. All right. See you later, guys.
So thank you very much to Marcus Ibrahim. Really enjoyed his half an hour of discussion and review about the oils that he had. We've got Rahel from OudFest coming up very shortly. He's going to be interviewed by Michelle again from Curly Fragrance. She'll be back on. And we may get some excerpts of his distillery that he's got in the UAE. I have a few videos from him that I've just downloaded. So we're just waiting for them to call in, and hopefully, let me just see if there's anyone in the meeting room waiting. Again, really apologies for this. I can't really apologize enough that you have to keep switching streams. Every time I go to a Zoom session, which is basically how we interview people, unfortunately, I have to restart the stream because I just don't know what I'm doing. so bear with us, regarding this change in StreamYard. Yeah, I think I need some kind of streaming software that can basically control all the streams and then just feed each one into a single YouTube stream. So I'll figure it out next week. But the problem is we didn't have time to do a lot of the testing because our YouTube channel was only granted permission to do live streaming this morning, literally about 20 minutes before we went live. So any testing that we needed to do was done in that half an hour, 40-minute space this morning when I sort of panicked and had to bring everything together very, very quickly. we weren't aware. I mean, I registered with YouTube 2 weeks ago, and then I thought, let me have a look at the live stream function yesterday just to make sure everything works. And lo and behold, there's a message. Oh yeah, your channel will be ready in 24 hours. And I googled that. I thought, what's going on? Why do I have to wait 24 hours? And apparently, it's not 24 hours. Sometimes it can be a lot more. It can be a few days. And so we were quite worried. We had a plan B set out for Facebook streaming. But thank God it was approved and we had it running, but the testing wasn't done. So therefore we've had issues like this. Right, let me just go to the interview that we're meant to be having. Right, so just bear with me while I bring Michelle and Rahel on Zoom, and then we will have a new stream that will start very shortly. For those of you who need to, if you want to know how to find the next stream, just go back to the channel homepage, just refresh it, and you'll see the stream at some point in time. It's a bit crappy, but unfortunately, it is what it is.